Round 3, Jamie versus cakes. We started off a little rough. But check out the blueberry pancakes. No, that's a cake. We're gonna continue to ride that high. This time we're making the orange salted caramel chocolate mirror glaze cake. I'm just not gonna give up without a fight. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to my home again. And of course, what is yours for this next little pocket of time that we share together? I got this friendly little baking challenge going on where I'm baking up the recipes from these cookbooks, which are from the TV show, The Great British Bake Off. This one's called The Big Book of Amazing Cakes. It sounds like a kid's book, but I can assure you it's not. It's very adult. Now, I haven't seen the show yet, but that hasn't stopped me so far. Here's the recipe. What first caught my attention here are these pointy things, hazelnuts dipped in caramel. Let's see a little kid do that. So that does look like a bit of a challenge. Also, I have a history with orange cakes. It's f***ed. It's over. I don't know what to do. And the mirror glaze. I've attempted that to varying results. Every time you tinker with it, something f***ed it up, so just stop. Anyway, I keep putting myself into these situations because you continue to watch. So thank you, and also, how dare you? Now the recipe is from this contestant here, Andrew, and he says it's hands-on, hour and a half, like heavy lifting, and then it's baking for 20 minutes. So it's clocking in around 2 hours, he says. I believe that when I see it. Maybe it's possible if I have all my ingredients prepped, mise en place, which I do. I'm gonna take a quick time out so I can thank this episode's sponsor. What, are we on the other side of this counter? Weird. I'm gonna thank this episode's sponsor, Babbel, one of the top language learning apps in the world. Now, of course, incorporating daily habits into your life isn't exactly easy, right? Like, I've always wanted to understand and speak French much better than I can, which isn't great. This year, I wanted to change that, so I've been using Babbel every day for the past 78 days straight. Precise, I know, but that's because I've been keeping track. Qu'est-ce que tu fais dans la vie?
Qu'est-ce que tu fais dans la vie?
This, because I'm busy, right? You're over there now. I can't dedicate all the time to do this. So whenever there's a lull in my day and I'm about to waste time on my phone doom scrolling or something, just open up the app, learn some French. Je suis étudiant. It's lessons that will prepare you for practical conversations you could have, but in another language. Doesn't have to be French either, that's my thing. It could be, well, they have like 14 different languages in the app. And it's scientifically proven to help you start learning that language in 3 weeks. With all sorts of different lessons to get you learning too. Are you a listening learner, visual, interactive? So what language would you like to learn? Turn that into your daily habit. C'est passion. Click the link in the description to get 60% off your subscription. Merci, Babbel. Starting off with an old friend. It's the silver fox. Silver fox, we're gonna make our génoise cake, and that's really putting these eggs on display because they're gonna act as the leavener rather than like baking soda, baking powder, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is 5 eggs, 3/4 cup plus a tablespoon or 172-ish grams of granulated sugar. Whisk attachment on the fox. High speed until it's thick and mousse-like. Leaving a ribbon trail when you lift the whisk. 1 2/3 cup, 200 grams of all-purpose flour that I gotta sift in 1/3 at a time. And he says, fold in with a large metal spoon. Cut through and over and rotate and rotate. Gently folding in each batch of the flour before moving on to the next batch. Finely grated zest of 2 oranges, or I'm using the zest of 3 medium-sized oranges, mid-sized, and a pinch of salt. 3 tablespoons of melted butter that I think just needs to cool for a second. Slowly pour 3 tablespoons of melted butter down the side of the bowl, fold in with the large metal spoon. Cake pan, 2 of them, 8 inches. Greased and lined with parchment paper, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. Equally distribute between these 2 pans. If you're like me, you put too much in one and not enough in another. 350 degrees F for 18 to 20 minutes. Keep an eye on it. After 20 minutes, I'm gonna check the center of the cake with my snazzy new cake poker tester thing. It comes out clean. Okay, these cakes are done. How hot is that? Instant regret. I had this light bulb idea while these things were baking in the oven. And we're gonna take a look at these in time, but I wanna do something while I wait for these to cool. And that's to whip up some more cake batter. It's for science. Reason is that I just don't think I'm whipping up my cake batter for long enough and thick enough in that initial stage when I'm trying to get the ribbons. And I was starting to think about the comments that I usually get on these cake videos. Some people are saying that my cake batter is not thick enough. You need like a nice sturdy cake batter. In fact, the one I added into these cake pans was runny, and it doesn't seem right. And I think that's why I have these little rinky-dink cakes, because I just don't think that the batter was thick enough, sturdy enough. That all happens in that first cake batter making stage. Because I have all the time in the world, I'm going to make the cake batter all over again. I'm gonna rebake it, and then I'm gonna compare. This is a big deal for me, an inflection point. I need to know what I'm doing wrong with my cakes, and that's gonna happen right now. Still hot. So, welcome back to the show, The Silver Fox. Silver Fox. So we're gonna do the exact same thing we just did, but better. Feel free to hit that fast forward button if you'd like. I'll hit it for you. That, my friends, is the ribbon stage. I was way off the first time. That is so much thicker and mousse-like, and look at those ribbons. Look at those. Okay, good test for science, 2 cake pans, the 8-inchers. Thank you. Thank you. You grease them and then you line them again. Perfect. And I see you reuse the same parchment paper as the first try. I'm okay with it. Split the cake batter between the 2 pans. It's just not as runny, you know? It's thicker, it's much sturdier. The last cake batters, you couldn't even use an offset spatula on them. They were just so runny. Into the oven. 18 to 20 minutes, or just a bit longer depending on your judgment. Second round, how these cakes look. Whoa, they look much fluffier. Again, with my sweet ass new cake tester, comes out clean in the second one too. The edges are pulling away from the sides of the pan. When I press down on the center with my fingers, there's like a spring back to it. All right, these are coming out. So here is my first cake attempt. Obviously, it's fairly pitiful. I don't even know what I would have done if this is all I had. It's like a Frisbee. Want to play frolf? Not only are they the thinnest cakes I've ever seen, they feel like they're fairly unfinished in the middle as well. This is why you always buy backup ingredients. If you do have a cooking show and are prone to screw up quite a bit, it comes in handy because these are not gonna fly on this program tonight. So step aside, crap cakes. This is just a much lighter and fluffier looking cake. Very dense and crap. It's not very good at all. I learned a lot, actually, more than I thought I would, about how to make cake batter. It just looks so much better. I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but I am happier. Salted caramel sauce. Yep. 2/3 cup or 140 grams of muscovado sugar. The one that smells like molasses. 1/4 cup of butter in there as well. Get that on a low heat, stirring for 3 to 4 minutes until the sugar has completely dissolved. Tell me what you see, Chuck. Fuck, why'd I do that? 5 tablespoons of heavy cream. Mix that well. Bring the heat up, and I gotta simmer this for 1 minute. So remove from the heat and add in around a teaspoon. Add in a teaspoon of flaky salt. Sweet and salty, love it. Stir this occasionally until it's cool. Cool. Bowl me, merci. Unbeknownst to you, the heavy cream I was using, the 5 tablespoons, was coming from the 2.5 cups I've had on reserve for this moment. Cool story, right? I know. Well, Whisk in the remaining 2 cups plus 3 tablespoons of heavy cream. I shall. Jesus! Put the tablespoon in there, I forgot. With the granny, I need to mix this until it's soft peaks. Right, do it in here. There you go. Soft peaks, gently mix in the salted caramel on a slow speed. Yeah, stream it in. It's fairly gentle. I'd say this is gentle. Okay, every last drop. You know what's really incredible is that I made this whole salted caramel thing without even having to taste. And now that I smell it, I'm like, I think I'm missing out on something. Okay, I think we're good here. Eject. Sweet and salty. Perfect combination. I wasn't leaving, I just had to get the cake. Shoot. Is the perfect day suddenly ruined by my idiocy? Damn it. Nearly. It's like, what good is this if that's... Look at those scars. Cut each cake in half horizontally to make 4 layers. All right. I don't know if these cakes are big enough to cut them in half horizontally. I think I might have to not even do that. Thing is, I'm looking at the photo and you can barely tell that they've even done that. But he has, I see. Okay, so his cake looks to be as thick as mine. Okay, all right, if this is what Andrew wants. You know what? I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'll just glue that back together with a little of the fill. I just can't believe I did that. Okay, so yeah, I got one of these finally. You've seen me try to grab a cake up without one of these. It's a struggle going from A to B. So I figure it's about time that you start using some of these. Also, the recipe says to use these cardboard. It's a cake card. Because of such a terrible job that I did trying to split this cake in half, mind-boggling, I know. I'm gonna put this one as the bottom. It's not worth telling you. 1/4-inch layer of cream on top. So to start, I'm just gonna glue this piece back together again. So it never happened. On goes a 1/4-inch layer of the cream. So I'm only doing the 3 layers of cake rather than the 4 layers of cake because of my screw up. So I'm gonna do just slightly thicker than a 1/4 inch. Next layer on top and repeat. Look at how well this is holding up, eh? You know what time it is. The crumb coat. Thin layer all over this damn thing. I just remembered something. People were telling me that this, I hope everyone's okay, but I got an idea. Yes, the thing from the microwave can be used as a turntable. I forgot all about that. I said, I hope everyone's okay. All right, so that is a hack to remember. Save your money for that new cake turntable. You're not gonna need it. You got the microwave plate. All right, after 20 minutes, this thing is ready for the next thing. So with whatever salted caramel cream you have remaining, I need to reserve a few tablespoons. 5 to be precise. The rest can be applied to the sides of this cake. Oh, you don't even need this thing. What the hell am I smoking? You can just spin it like that. Doy. Thick layer of cream all over this entire cake. And make it smooth and neat. All right, stop it. So I'm gonna leave this in the fridge until it's chilled. Okay. Gather around, everyone, gather around. We're moving on to the chocolate mirror glaze. So in my small saucepan, 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons of heavy cream, 2/3 cup, 140 grams of sugar, 2/3 cup, 57 grams of cocoa powder, as well as 2 tablespoons of water. Heat that gently. And we stirred. Once the sugar has dissolved, turn the heat up and simmer for 2 minutes. So not too bothered by the cocoa powder clumps because I'm gonna have to pass it through a sieve down the road. What's up, Snowman? Off the heat, and I gotta let this cool for 10 minutes. Keep it stirring while it cools for a bit. So while I was out picking up all these ingredients today, I couldn't find gelatin sheets. I didn't look really hard, quite honestly, but I knew I had gelatin powder in the house, so I was like, I'd rather just use it. And I know that there's got to be a way to just substitute one for the other, no problem. It's just a bit of you just got to do a little math, that's the problem. So I need 3 gelatin sheets. Generally speaking, 1 tablespoon of gelatin powder equals 3 gelatin sheets. Generally speaking. I'm fairly general, so I think I'm just gonna go with that. That was 1 tablespoon. I like when someone just gives me a straight answer. Okay, so the whole envelope of gelatin powder is 1 tablespoon. Just added like a 1/4 cup of water in there too. I just take the little miniature whisk here and give it a good old-fashioned stir. Okay, so let's just let that bloom a couple minutes. Firmed up gelatin goes in with the chocolate. Gotta stir that in until it looks dissolved, and then pass this through the sieve. Now those cocoa powder clumps don't matter. It looks super smooth and beautiful. Tap on the surface to remove any air bubbles. And then I need to let this cool until it turns into a pourable custard. I can do that. Tighten your apron. I've been in this scenario before. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. When I made a galaxy mirror cake, I poured the mirror glaze onto the cake and the cake was on a plate still. Didn't work that way. No, you need it to be on the rack. I pour the glaze on top. This is a make or break moment for this cake. Okay, hold off, let it do its thing. Let it do its thing. Okay, and then we're gonna see where I'm missing. It needs to cover the entire thing, right? How the hell are you gonna do that? So it needs to go all over the sides. Okay, I need it to cooperate. We're running out of chocolate. Stupid question. Am I able to reuse some of this chocolate? Turns out that I can just reuse it off this clean pan. It's not going over where I need it to go. Come on, chocolate, go. Oh, go over there. Chocolate shortage at the moment. Am I able to spread it? All right, everything went fairly okay, not great. I started screwing around with things and it's not exactly where I want it to be. I just took this last hour here to just sort out my thoughts. What happened with that first glazing wasn't what I was planning for. It was very uneven and you just saw you couldn't get around the sides, and then I started toying around with it, and what I did is scraped up all the chocolate as much as I could. Whatever was remaining, I just kind of smoothed it out. Then I had this in the freezer, took it out of the freezer, smoothed it out even more so, put it in the fridge while I was making my mirror glaze. Yes, I made more of it, ×2, just to have plenty. I figured that if I just followed along to this recipe, I would be okay. No, because it leaves out quite a bit, kind of on your own. So I'm just thinking about past experiences, reading up on it, and when I'm pouring the mirror glaze, I have to remember it's just one opportunity. If you screw it up, it's game over. So when I pour it, I have to start in the center, and then it's an expanding spiral motion outward. And then doing that, there should be enough momentum to cover the sides. All right. An abundance of chocolate on top, but I didn't want to screw anything up. I think I need to immediately get this into the fridge to chill so that nothing bad happens. I hate when bad things happen. We did it. Frickin' did it. Well, you know, not up to like professional standards here, but in this kitchen, I consider that 2 thumbs up. Lesson there is if you're gonna make some mere glaze for your cake, make extra. We got one last thing we gotta make here, and it is the hazelnuts dipped in caramel. Remember those sharp, pointy objects on the cake? This thing right here, I'll poke an eye out. All right, we gotta blanch hazelnuts. We just need them. So I looked online for a recipe, found it easy peasy. 2 cups of boiling water. I'm gonna add in 3 tablespoons of baking soda, and it's gonna fizz, so be prepared. Hazelnuts, cup. Whoa, it's fizzing, it's fizzing. Boil for 3 minutes. Hazelnuts into the cold water. Look at that, the water turned frickin' black. There we go. So remove the skin from the hazelnut, but keep it whole. Like if you break it, it's no good to us. Hazelnut with skin on it, and then we just kind of squeeze the skin. Blanched hazelnuts under control. They're dry. We're only gonna need 9 of them, but you know, better to be safe than sorry, as we have learned today. So we're gonna bring over the small saucepan yet again, and 1/4 cup, 50 grams of sugar, 2 tablespoons of water to a medium heat. I'm not allowed to stir this, you just gotta swirl. So we're looking for an amber color. Recipe says 3 to 4 minutes, but I'm just gonna eyeball it. Nothing cooks to the sides of the pan if I just keep brushing it with water too. Look at that. An amber color. Take it off the heat. Attach each hazelnut to the end of a toothpick. Okay. This is what we're doing over here. Hazel pops. Once you got your nuts on a stick, baking dish on the ground. Take the hazelnut and dunk it into the caramel. And then what do? Using a heavy chopping board to hold the sticks in place. I have to take it and stick it on. Yes, like that. Okay, cool. Drip onto the baking dish down there. That's gonna ruin my weekend. Don't know how much longer I can keep doing this because the burns on my fingers currently are excruciating. Who came up with this idea? You have the ones that work, and you're gonna have to get over the fact that you broke your best one. Of course that was gonna happen. Take them off the toothpick. Once you got your selects, don't let anything happen to those right there. The piping bag nozzle, whatever one's gonna kind of just work for the vibe you're trying to set. I think this one's gonna be great. You're gonna love it. Whatever remaining salted caramels, get that into the piping bag. Here we go. Very nice and easy. Into the center. Pipe 8 small circles of the salted caramel sauce around the cake. 8 of them. You know what? I'm gonna do 6. I'm gonna do 6. Pointy hazelnut things go on top of the cream. Just pick your nicest ones. I hope everyone's okay. Last one goes on top. There's nothing left to do. Order up! I'm gonna cut it open. Wow. Yum. All right, now the best thing, classic, the best thing that the cake has going on is this contrast between the saltiness and the sweetness. For example, when I added that flaky salt earlier today, that changed the game. You got salted caramel, you got chocolate. That's what I'm gonna remember. I won't necessarily think about the orange flavor in the cake. I didn't think it needed to be there. It's kind of unnecessary, quite honestly. But the cake was fluffy because I had to redo it, but the cake was fluffy. It was a day of learning today because if I didn't go back and like fix the cake, now it's fluffy and soft and nice. And the mirror glaze, also very nice and reflective and shiny and glossy. I am confirming with you now that I can see my reflection in this mirror cake. I supposedly can hammer at this cake in an hour and a half of work and then 20 minutes to bake it. Less than 2 hours. Andrew, did you do that? Because I wasn't even close. Obviously, I was filming and cleaning dishes and I went back and fixed things in the cake and wasn't really keeping track of when I started today, but when I look at the footage, I'll look at the time on my watch and then I will compare it with what time, whoa! And then I'm gonna compare it to where I am right now, and this is how long it took me to make this cake. So what do you think about that, Andrew? I think that about wraps it up today. I'm gonna take the burns on my fingers and I'm gonna go. This was the Great Anti-Baking Challenge. Still a working title. I'll see you later. Just not gonna give up without a fight.